All right. Wow, Zero, you're quick. Right on the ball. Hello, everyone. I am insanely tired, but we're good. We all good? What up, Jaden? Got back from it was kind of a small backpacking trip, but it was good to get outdoors. So I'm out there having fun. Come back. And then... Oh, man. Bungie and Destiny is just all up in flames. I don't know what happened. Like I said, I was gone. But apparently this was released, State of the Game. If you don't know what this is, it's essentially Bungie releasing a kind of big article on all the company's plans, their thoughts, their deals, and just kind of catching up the community with what they're doing. They do this kind of every year, or usually before like a huge expansion, and it kind of helps us understand Bungie better. But apparently what they said is awful. Because let me see if I can pull this up real quick. It's ridiculous. All right. So, Fallout's got something. Azcrust's got some stuff. Even Mudahar is talking about this. Dado's got something. I saw, was it Miskiff? Come in here as well. No, not Miskiff. Moist Critical made a video, and it's just like everyone's talking about it. So I don't know what's happening. I have not read this. I haven't watched any of those videos. That's why they're in my watch later. Because I'll watch them after we go through this. But let's read through this. It's going to be a long article, so you're going to hear a lot of reading from me. So sorry. It's just how it's going to go. And yeah, let's jump in it. Alright, my name's Joe and I'm the game director for Destiny 2. Right now, the team and I are heads down on making sure the final shape and the seasons leading up to it are incredible. So for the rest of this update, you'll be hearing from a bunch of different voices that all contributed to this mid-year state of the game. I wanted to start with a quick thanks to all of you who have been playing Destiny for so many years. The way you play and the feedback you give is a huge part of how we shape our plans. And it's an honor to log in each day and play in this universe alongside all of you. Back in February, we covered the state of the game, heading into Lightfall, and laid out 4 big goals we set for ourselves with Destiny 2 in preparation for the final shape. Then in April, we looked back at the lessons learned from launch and charted a path forward into the first half of Lightfall's year. Today, we're diving into the second half of the year, addressing some of the community's burning questions, updating everyone on our progress against those 4 goals for the year, and previewing some exciting updates as we count the days to our Destiny 2 showcase on August 22nd. As always, we'd like to celebrate our community first and foremost. We're thankful to see so many players contributing or continuing to join us throughout this journey, and it's been amazing to welcome more new lights than we ever expected with Lightfall. Since the release of the Final Shape teaser trailer in May, the community reactions to Cade 6's upcoming return have been nothing short of heartwarming. And we can't wait to share more in the showcase later this month. But before all that, let's dig into the game we're making and playing right now. Alright. If I remember what the 4 goals were, it was... One of them was like more community stuff, so like putting in an LFG, the accommodation system, the Guardian ranks, just kind of trying to build players together better. I can't remember what the other 3 were, if I'm going to be honest. Alright, addressing feedback. We've been tracking a number of player feedback items over the past few months, while we've covered some issues recently, including the roadmap for improvements in general stability. It's time for a detailed check-in on our progress in several areas of the game. Speaking of this, I don't know if you guys heard, DMG was he was the community manager for Bungie, or for Destiny, I should say, its entire lifespan until just last year. That's because he got DDoSed and got harassed by some members of the community, and it was awful. In fact, Bungie just won a lawsuit against them, which is amazing, and hopefully sets a good standard and a new chapter in gaming industry as a whole. But anyways, if you want, you can look that up yourself. But yeah, it's been kind of sad because addressing feedback's been so hard because everyone's so toxic, and it's just awful. Like, no joke, we've always been kind of bad, but we have been getting progressively worse as a community as the years have gone on, and I hate it so much. It's one of the reasons why I don't play Destiny as much anymore. It's because the community just sucks. I love the game, but man, some of y'all need to chill. After watching Destiny 2 gameplay for 5 hours, I still don't understand the game. Don't worry, Don't Glue. Alright, ritual updates. We've heard plenty of feedback from players that our core ritual playlist should feel more consistently rewarding to play, and that those rewards should drop more frequently, regardless of the activities you like to play. We agree. Let's talk about what we've done so far and what we're doing in Season 22 to achieve this. Well, with Season of the Deep, we've upgraded the weekly ritual challenge rewards to exotic engrams to give everyone consistent sources of materials to focus the exact exotic armor they want to run. In Season 22, we're updating those weekly ritual activities. Reading ahead of myself. We're updating those weekly ritual challenge requirements so players can complete their 9 challenges in any ritual playlist they'd like, as opposed to having to complete 3 each across Vanguard, Crucible, and Gambit. Oh! Okay, so it's going to be kind of like what we have with the seasonal stuff, where like every 3 games or something, the challenge thing updates so you get the next reward or whatever. Oh, sweet. We'll also be increasing the frequency of ritual engram drops after completing ritual activities, and we're making the latest ritual loot pool weapons focusable at their respective vendors at the start of the season for the first time, rather than needing to wait until the following season to chase those guards. Perfect. They explained this a few twids back. It's so weird to say twid. We're loading up our ritual vendors with fresh weapons. With fresh weapons in Season 22, including the unending Tempest Stasis submachine gun in the Crucible. Alright, the Luna Regolith III solar sniper rifle and strikes in the Quazafan the 5th void machine gun in Gambit. Okay, we have so many of those. The Cataphract GL3 Strand grenade launcher in Trials. Oh, that would be cool. Now, is this a heavy grenade launcher or is this just a normal? I think this is a normal. But that's pretty accurate. Thanks. I did not put much time and effort into that thumbnail, but I thought it was pretty relevant. We're also bringing some fan favorites back in our ritual playlist, including the Igneous Hammer Solar Hand Cannon in Trials, and revamping Warden's Law into a brand new archetype as a Nightfall reward. I'm actually curious about this, because I love Crimson, and this is kind of like a mini version of it, so we'll see how it goes. This is how we're making our core rituals more rewarding overall, but what are we doing for each specific area? Let's start with PvP. Spoilers, I did hear some news about this, and people were pissed about it. So, I'm not a PvP player, so I can't give the best impressions of this, but I'll try my best. Guardian versus Guardians. Thanks to the hard work of multiple teams, we've delivered several additions to PvP over the past few seasons. These include the launch of Competitive Division, multiple new game modes, a revamp of Trials of Osiris, new competitive and trials rewards, fireteam matchmaking improvements, new rotator playlist, PvP specific weapon tuning, several quality of life improvements, and more. However, we know our hardcore PvP players want more maps, fewer cheaters, and an ever-evolving meta that feels good to compete in. I don't know how to respond to this, because whenever I hop into Crucible, I just pull out random weapons. I'm like, I just need to complete some tasks and then I'm out of here. Fewer cheaters. To be honest, I haven't seen too many cheaters. And although I do hear a lot of reports of cheaters, they're not as frequent as they used to be. But any is still too much, so it's never a bad thing. And I don't even think it's hardcore. Even I want new maps for PvP. I understand making maps is hard, but they're so important to do. Especially if you bring back maps from D1 and you're like, I have been playing on this map for 9 years. It's a little much. The most frequent feedback we see is that there is just not enough new PvP content, specifically new maps. To set expectations, our studio structure is built to support more overarching updates to PvP like the ones above, rather than focusing exclusively on maps. When we do focus our resources on building new Crucible maps, it comes with the trade-off of multiple teams' bandwidth on work that contributes to a variety of experiences that players also hold dear, such as new story or exotic mission content, core activities that make up the foundation of each season, or new destinations. Similarly, bringing back reprised maps also involves extensive porting to the latest version of Destiny 2, which requires additional resources to ensure the maps work correctly for multiple game modes and playstyles for years to come. I would say I'm a very competitive PvPer, and I have It's true. Destiny 2's PvP is very different from most others, but I can see why people are pissed about this paragraph. And I have a few thoughts on it. Firstly, let's talk about the bringing back reprise maps. When Beyond Light launched a few years ago, they completely revamped the engine, meaning that although a lot of the content was sunsetted, the reason for that is because with the new engine, a lot of those things wouldn't be able to run properly. And every time they reprise a raid or a map, either from D1 or even the beginning part of D2 that's not here yet, they have to redo it, essentially. It's almost as if they're remaking the entire map. I don't know the specific process, but like it's easier because they have the graphical assets to reconstruct the map, and they already have the floor plan and everything. So I don't have to invent a new one, but they have to kind of recode it into the new engine. So that's why it's so hard to bring back old maps, even though it's like, well, you've already made the map, just shove it in. It's like, nah, it takes a little more work. But I don't think it takes that much more work. Or it's like, I don't know. It's a lot of this is just the priorities of Bungie is not PvP, is essentially what this paragraph's saying. Because we haven't really gotten new game modes. We've just gotten reprisals of old game modes. Revamp, if they're talking about like the introduction of Trials way back when, that was like 2 years ago. And everything since then has just been changes to how loot works. I mean, it's nothing like insanely big. Given the biggest thing that they've done so far in all of this is the competitive division. That's about it. I guess the matchmaking improvements and changes they made there might have taken a long time. But then for the most part, it's kind of like a skeleton crew running the PvP specific tuning and quality of life improvements. It's just, I don't know. It just seems weak. I'm not even a PvPer, but the fact that they're just like, what does it say? Comes with a trade-off of multiple teams' bandwidth on board that contributes to a variety of experiences that players also hold dear, such as new story or exotic mission content. First off, we barely get exotic mission content. Well, that's not true. We get them almost every season. And then story-wise, we do get some really good cutscenes, but for the most part, a lot of our story just comes from voice chatter during an activity, or we just listen to crap at the helm. we do get amazing cutscenes here or there. Don't get me wrong. But I don't think the people working on the cutscenes are the same people that are working on PvP. It just kind of seems like a weird job description to have. And a weird distribution of talent. Anyways, I'll have more thoughts later. That kind of connects all this. With that said, we have some exciting content coming to PvP this month that several teams have brought to life, as well as an update on our advances in game security to combat cheaters, which is always a good thing. A preview of upcoming sandbox shakeups, which happens like at least twice a season. That's nothing new. And more details coming next week on how the general PvP sandbox gear and ability balance will evolve. For Season 22, we have a new Vex Network themed map debuting along with the new Relic 6v6 mode. The gunplay-focused checkmate modifier for multiple modes, a new competitive Ascendant Division emblem, and more. Relic and checkmate will both kick off in Crucible Labs throughout the season so we can gather feedback on how they are received. We'll have more to share in the showcase, but let's dive in a bit right now. So finally, we have some of these. They showcased this. I can't remember what they are. I think one of them's like Search and Destroy. But we're finally getting a new map. Again, we get one maybe once a year. Maybe. And the last one we got was just kind of awful. So everything I said is everything they've done so far. But at least they're kind of making up for it with this next month. We'll see. Alright, Multiplex. Our newest PvP battlefield, we wanted to create an asymmetric map using a Vex environment as a backdrop that could work well for multiple game modes. With the Vex network playing such a critical role in the story during Lightfall's year, we felt now was the perfect time to deliver this map. Although many of us have been thinking about a lo-fi Vex map for the Crucible, the challenge of this palette was a possible lack of player orientation in the play space. Gosh, my mute function on this microphone is not working. Apologies if you heard that cough. We thought bringing the Mars palette to the Vex network realm would be a great way to mitigate this while adding an evocative look. Narratively, the space is in the middle of compiling the Infinite Forest, so this is what you'll see in action. Watch for footage of this new map in the showcase. Oh good, they're going to explain this. Alright. Checkmate is a modifier where rich primary weapon fights can happen more often, and gun skill can be augmented by communication and strong positioning. Primary weapon damage has been tuned to feel different than the rest of the game without being jarring, reducing the gap between the faster killing weapons and the average time to kill. And in general, pushing longer range primaries into slower killing profiles, player health has been increased. All ability cooldowns are lengthened, and special ammunition must be earned via gunplay and is not dropped on death. This all results in slightly longer combat encounters that reward skill and consistency. Checkmate will be available in the Crucible Labs from, all that stuff. Oh, okay, survival and then rumble. So kind of those modifiers attached to this game style. Seems pretty cool. I think I'll enjoy that one. I like momentum control as well. It's just, you play gunplay right. Relic is a 6v6 party mode where players wreak havoc and destructions on their foes with relic weapons. It's not search and destroy. Not what I thought. Not at all. Relics include the Aegis from Vault of Glass, the Synaptic Spear from Season of the Risen, and the Scythe from Season of the Haunted. Each player charges their personal relic energy by defeating opponents with their normal loadout. Upon reaching full charge, players can acquire a relic from a relic depot, defeating relic holders and using the relics to defeat opponents' earn points for the team. So you can keep killing each other with normal weapons, but it won't do crap. Whereas Checkmate is heavily focused on gunfights, Relic is intended to provide light-hearted gameplay that can be enjoyed by anyone, similar to Mayhem and Team Scorched. Which, people hate on Team Scorched. I love Team Scorched. It's just so stupid. Is it inconsistent? Oh yeah. Can it be frustrating? Totally. But it's just so fun, because you know you can't take it seriously. Hey, good game. It has been a long time. Welcome. Alright, Relic will be available in the Crucible Labs. Yada yada. Oh, okay. Alright, matchmaking improvements. Our quest to constantly improve matchmaking is always ongoing, and in Season 22, we're modifying our loose skill-based matchmaking settings for Control and Iron Banner. These settings will look to improve matchmaking times and experiences for players who find themselves at the upper or lower ends of the skill spectrum, and for those playing in low population regions or times. Oh, you hit 1,000 subs, good game? Nice, congrats. That's a massive milestone. Proud of you. The team is also adding loose fireteam matchmaking to the Crucible rotators, including labs, to ensure players are being evenly matched against similar fireteam sizes without the need for a freelance node. I feel like that should just be default. Additionally, we'll be tackling an issue with lobby balancing that can misallocate players over certain skill levels. Here's my take on this. Just randomize it. Don't try to lobby balance. If you randomize it, it'd be like, ah, crap. That was unlucky. We got all the crappy players, or all the good players are on one team. What a shame. And then just move on from there. Now for like, maybe like Iron Banner, Trials, and stuff like that. Obviously, we gotta have better lobby balancing. But just normal Control and whatnot, it's okay. It's okay to get stomped every now and then. Alright, more to come in Season 23. Looking further ahead, we're planning to deliver a new Iron Banner mode for Season 23, along with a brand new Hake Aggressive Frame Strand Pulse Rifle as our newest competitive division weapon reward. The Mercurial Overreach Adaptive Frame Arc Sniper Rifle will remain available for competitors throughout Season 22. As a reminder, we're also focusing on map reprisal efforts on porting the Citadel from 2018 to the Crucible within Season 23. We all have fond memories of dominating Control with our fire teams on this one, and can't wait to see what you can do with the latest arsenal out there in the Dreaming City. Alright, overall Crucible, it's just... I mean, they are putting a lot more into it. We're getting 2 new game modes, a new map, all that fun stuff. It really just depends how this new map hits. Because what sucks is, because of how rare these maps are, if they suck, it's just kind of like, what was the point? Right? Now, if they were kind of frequent and you get a bad map here or there, people will just be like, okay, we'll probably get a better map soon. But for this, it's like, no. If this map sucks, then we gotta wait till way past the final shape for a new one to see if that one hits. But in essence, I believe the community's consensus that PvP is a back burner thing. You have a team that's very devoted to working on PvP, and they're doing fantastic work. But the majority of what made PvP great in Destiny, a lot of those minds went off to make Marathon. And they're gone. So, this isn't to, again, not to put shame or blame on anyone still working on PvP at Destiny or at Bungie right now. But it is very apparent that a lot of their core group was split off to work on Marathon, and they're just trying their best to stay afloat, which sucks. Bungie should totally be giving them more resources. We know they have the money. They just don't do it. But I'm excited to see Checkmate and Relic. Those will be fun. We've been wanting something like Relic for a long time, so I was kind of hoping Relic would be like a... you couldn't really do that. Yeah, because I was thinking Relic would be something like, you know how you have loadouts in Halo or Call of Duty, and you just pick a loadout that has a Relic and you just jump in and it's like Scorch, where you just go in and you're just using the Relic. Obviously, we don't have loadouts in that way in Destiny, so you can't do that. So this might be the best next option. Anyways, on to Vanguard, the one core playlist I play. Vanguard playlists are currently in a solid place with a healthy population, and we have more new additions coming up. First up, Vanguard Medals. Vanguard Medals will be available in Vanguard Ops and Nightfall starting in Season 22. After first being introduced in last year's Guardian games and their continued success in this year's event, we have decided to bring them in full time to spice things up in our Vanguard playlist. Thank you. It's about time. They brought back strike scoring, which was great, but medals were a core part of that, so it kind of felt weird to not have it. Don't know what Vanguard medals are. They're the, let's say you get like a double kill, it's the medal that pops up on your screen. So beforehand, they didn't really mean anything. They were just fun to have all these medals pop up as you kill things. Medals will contribute to scoring, allowing players to attain higher scores and reputation multipliers by performing unique actions and doing cool things. Our goal here is to reward players for playing well and not require players to go out of their way to grind for score. In short, we don't want you to feel like you have to compromise your build in order to boost your score with additional medals. It's worth noting that some medals will remain Guardian Games staples and not be available in our Vanguard playlist, so don't expect finishers to grant you a medal in Nightfalls. Makes sense. There will be several new medals specific to Vanguard playlists when they launch, and you can expect to see a few more in Season 23. Additionally, the selection of active medals will be determined based on current active modifiers, such as surges, to ensure a variety of builds are used for acquiring medals. We've also recently focused more of our team's resources into more varied and frequent seasonal activities such as battlegrounds that can later make their way into Vanguard playlists alongside our strikes and eventually serve as new additions to Nightfall and Grandmaster playlists. While this can come at the cost of other content in a given year, we feel this exchange can be worth the extra investment for the overall health of our playlist. As a result, we'll have additional battlegrounds coming into the Nightfall and Grandmaster Nightfall rotations in Season 22 and 23 to keep players on their toes before the final shape launches. I will give Bungie credit here. The change to bring these battleground type activities into the Strike playlist was genius. Does it kind of suck we're not getting strikes as often anymore? Sure. But that's fine. Because strikes as of late have been okay. Like, they're kind of unique and whatnot. Especially the more recent ones. But they're not as iconic as some of the older strikes have been. I don't know, I just feel like strikes have been kind of weak in D2 overall. There's some bangers, but having the battleground activities in here from the various different seasons has been really good. And it's also nice to see, them creating an activity and it actually lasting instead of getting vaulted away. Because I've always felt bad about that. Because it takes a lot of effort to make those things. And then it's like, well, how can you put a lot of effort into something if you know it's going to get, deleted in 6 months? So this way it encourages them to make good battlegrounds. It gets to stay in the game, and then the Vanguard playlist kind of gets more and more stuff, so it doesn't seem as repetitive. So it's honestly a win overall. Some people hate it, but I love this change that they did. It was pretty subtle. No one really talked about it, but I knew where they were going with it, and I've enjoyed it. All right. Oh, getting winded out. Still not quite recovered from my backpacking trip. Got absolutely hammered last night. That's worded poorly. I did not go drinking. I ended up hiking like 11 miles yesterday. Almost all of it with a 45-pound bag on my back. So I'm so tired. My lungs are just tired. Anyways, let's move on to Gambit, the last of the core playlists. As many of you have noticed, we've been quiet on Gambit since last year's overhaul that launched alongside the Witch Queen. In that revamp, the team made significant changes across 5 categories in Gambit: core activity fundamentals, primeval tuning, invasions, ammo economy, and rewards. Unfortunately, these updates didn't move the needle for player engagement. Although we know our Gambit fans mostly care about new or returning maps, this is an area of the game with lower engagement that would take resources away from more popular parts of the game to shore up. While we don't have plans to dedicate more resources to significantly transform Gambit, we do have a few updates planned for the year of the final shape. Wow. Okay. These include porting the the Cathedral of Scars map and its beautiful Dreaming City setting into the latest version of Destiny 2, as well as adding the Shadow Legion and Lucent Hive enemy types. That will be interesting. Alright, let me finish this up. Before then, we're making Gambit entirely optional to maximize your rewards unless you're looking for a piece of gear that's specific to the mode. Gambit will continue to serve as a source of exotic ingrams via weekly challenges, though, as we mentioned above, you'll be able to complete all your weekly challenges in any ritual you'd like starting in Season 22. If you want to stick to Vanguard or Crucible challenges without touching Gambit, now you can. We're also reducing the number of Gambit-specific seasonal challenges starting in Season 22, so players don't need to bank motes to be able to earn that big purse of bright dust for completing nearly every challenge in the season. Finally, we're adding Fireteam matchmaking to Gambit next season, which will replace the freelance node and should result in faster, better matchmaking by combining both the playlists. We'll keep an eye on reception and player engagement after these additions take place, and we'll hope you'll visit Old Drifter next season to get your hands on his new Void machine gun. So essentially, they've given up on Gambit. They have a few updates planned for the year of the final shape. Understand this, the last update Gambit had was the beginning of Witch Queen, which was last February. Yeah, last February. Not this year's February. 2022 February was the last time Gambit was touched. It's had a few small updates here or there, like the vendor rework and whatnot, but that's just because everything else was getting it. But actual time dedicated to Gambit, it's been a year and a half, and they're saying that it's not getting another one till about a year from now. It's ridiculous. I understand Gambit's not that popular. I do understand that. But to essentially Bungie saying, yeah, we're just kind of tossing under the rug. We're going to bring back a map that we took away from you with Beyond Light, because again, the engine port thing. And then they're going to add the new enemy types, which is just kind of reskinned of both current enemy types with a few extra things added to them, which is fine. I hope to see Tormentors with here and then the Hive Guardians with these guys, but it's sad to hear. I'm not much of a Gambit player, but I would rather play Gambit than Crucible, if I'm going to be honest with you. I don't hate Gambit. It's not my go-to game, but I don't hate it. So it's kind of sad to see. And with these changes, it just means you don't have to play Gambit. They're giving us reasons to not play Gambit. So not only are they cutting support for this, but they're encouraging people to stop playing it. So, yeah, it sucks, but oh well. Armor set rewards. Okay. A long time ago, we shared a plan to address concerns on reward balance. Players have pointed out that we didn't release a new armor set for the ritual playlist with Lightfall as previously called out in our yearly release schedule. It's very true. Honestly, I didn't realize that, but yeah. They used to update them every season, and they're like, it's a bit too much, and we're like, we agree. Once a year, that's fine. They didn't even do that. Go figure. Delivering ritual armor sets at the rates we have in the past has become increasingly challenging, especially considering these sets have historically had very low adoption by players as both base armor and cosmetic ornaments. Because you make them so bad. It's once a year. How challenging is that? You pump out armor sets like 5 times a season. At this time, we are amending our delivery plans for how often we refresh these sets and will no longer be creating a new set for every expansion. Okay. However, we are prioritizing the delivery of a new ritual armor set alongside the final shape to infuse some new looks you'll be able to show off from your time in the Vanguard, Crucible, and Gambit playlists. We also have a new armor set for Trials of Osiris releasing in just a few short weeks. Here's a preview of the Titan armor from the set coming in Season 22. Like, I know this is Trials armor. It looks more on the lines of Iron Banner. Okay. Alright, here's my take on armor sets, right? With the introduction of transmog, armor has become, I don't know how to explain it, obsolete in terms of, like, looks. I know some people are incredibly passionate about their cosmetics and how they look and whatnot, but there's a lot of options out there. And Bungie's kind of locked a lot of the armor sets behind paywall. So, for example, with the launch of Lightfall, they introduce one armor set for Neomuna, one armor set for the raid, and I think that was it. Yeah, that was it. Then they add, every season they have 2 armor sets. One is kind of like the base armor, and the other one is the ornament you get if you bought the season pass, so it's behind a paywall. Then they always add one for the dungeons, which again, raids and dungeons are kind of given. You know, if they don't add armor sets for those, people are kind of like, what are you doing? But they didn't give us ritual ones, right? So, let me backtrack. In Lightfall, we got 4 armor sets. Essentially, 2 of them locked behind a page. No, 3 of them. Because the Neomuna set you can only get if you have Lightfall. It's not like you can randomly get them in the world drops or anything like that. Because you have to level up. What's his facing? You can only do that if you bought the expansion. So okay, so that's armor sets locked behind the paywall, which is fine. And that's not even that bad of a paywall, right? You bought the game, you can pay for it. Now let's look at Eververse. You're not going to see this, but no, I'm just going to do this in the background. Gosh, there's just so many armor sets. Because I think since Lightfall's release, Eververse has gotten just as many armor sets as the rest of the game has. And each of those armor sets cost, how much is it? Oh yeah, $20. Yeah, that's right. It's $20. It's a little ridiculous. So for them to say that it's become increasingly challenging, it's BS. You pump out armor sets like nothing. You can't monetize the ritual playlist armor sets at all. They're completely free to play. And because of that, you just don't want to devote the resources to do so. Now I understand it's 3D modeling, it's all this stuff. making armor sets does require a lot more work than we think. But to say that doing this once a year, not even once a year, like, remember, the gap between Shadowkeep and Witch Queen was like a year and a half. Not being able to do one set, or I guess 3 sets, sorry, for each class is insanely challenging. It's kind of BS, especially since they're previously was very lazy anyways, because a lot of the sets are just kind of the same with just different skins for each set. Like, each one doesn't really look that different from each other. You have a team that can do it, but you can't monetize it, so you don't want to put in the effort. Like, you'll prioritize your Eververse sets before these. And then the reason why Trials gets the armor sets is not even because of, like, it gets the same treatment as raids and dungeons, but because you have to pay in order to play Trials. So they'll give them armor sets. I think Iron Banner is the only exception to my rule here, because Iron Banner is free to play. I believe. I could be wrong with that. That kind of pisses me off. Because there have been some good Crucible, Vanguard, and Gambit armor when they actually delivered on it instead of just try to cheap out on it. Whew, we're not even halfway through this article. My throat's dying. Game security. Our security team works to prevent cheaters from ruining the experience for legitimate players, whether that be directly in competitive PvP activities or indirectly, via boosting or making new burner accounts and bringing them into endgame content like Trials. Here are a few things from 2023 we can share with you about our ongoing mission to protect players from cheaters and enable players to experience the game as its designers intended. What has changed in Destiny 2 security this year? Over the course of the year, we have invested further in data science and machine learning, building confidence in the detections they produce. These tools allow us to observe and evaluate player behavior in new ways and ensure an increasing number of actions in response. In addition, we have continued to adapt new policies to protect players, including the abuse of external accessibility tools policy. The development of this policy has allowed us to catch cheaters that we may not have otherwise. This policy not only gives us an avenue to action, what? Anyways, give them action towards this form of cheating, but it has also spurred us to investigate player behavior in new ways. Finally, we've worked with BattleEye to address network manipulation tools, improving our data collection, detection, and mitigation strategies. Competition is best when fair, so we will continue to issue bans or restrictions to those abusing these methods. I'm not going to read the rest of this. I don't play PvP enough for any of this. People don't really cheat in PvE. Essentially, it's just an ongoing process. They're doing okay. And as a last reminder, don't give your account away or use recovery services because people gain ban. Well, it's like just because people can cheat with your account, and then you'll get the fall for it. And there's no excuse. The account cheated, so the account will be banned, whether it's by your fingers or not. All right, the stability updates. We got an update on this a while ago. Yeah, so essentially there was this weird bug that's happening. They're really trying to fix this up, and it's going to take a couple seasons to do. But they are on it. They've been working hard trying to fix this. It looks like they've been able to speedline some of the process. Moving towards the Season 22 launch, we are beginning to do internal chaos testing using the new code we added and are already using that data to make more improvements to this update. Theme of 23 launch will be helping to protect us against stability issues that might occur in the future. Okay. So, essentially, same thing as you read in this TWID. They go over all of the stability. Good. Stability's good. Again, this is just kind of a recap. We already know all that. It's good to know they're making good products. So that is a fantastic update. Seasonal structure. Whew. We get 2 paragraphs of this. Alright, as we mentioned back in February, we've been working behind the scenes to shake up the seasonal paradigm this year to subvert player expectations, make each season feel unique. We know our players are looking for more variety and repeatable seasonal activities, and more than anything, we want to constantly surprise everyone with what comes next in each season. Although we'll talk a bit more about this below, and you'll see it in action in our showcase, we're giving ourselves more freedom to stretch narratively and in gameplay systems throughout Season 22 and 23. We hope you'll enjoy coming on those rides with us starting later this month. Alright, so essentially wait for the showcase. I don't have the best methods for the seasonal structure or like thoughts and ideas I can give for it. But it is very... it's player expectations, right? We just know what's happening. We know how it's going to work. We know how it's going to go. We've been doing the same thing for like 4 years. My biggest gripe with the seasonal model is so much effort gets put into making seasonal activities that will not last. And if they think, putting effort into Crucible is a waste of resources, in my opinion, this is a waste of resources. Sure, I don't know. It's behind a paywall, so of course that makes up money. So they're like, oh, it's worth the investment. But for, the people working on the content, they're like, well, this is just going to get trashed sooner or later, so we just pump it out and we're good to go. That creative incentive kind of dies out as you do this year after year after year, which is why I think the whole battleground and the strike system with the Vanguard Ops change was really good. But it doesn't solve all of this. I don't know. Let's see what Bungie has in store with the seasonal change, but the only thing I can suggest is not spreading out the main story as much as you have throughout the seasons like you have done this year. The year leading up to Witch Queen only worked because Beyond Light finished its story. And then you still had the big overarching story that still wasn't really done. So you could make all these seasonal stories that kind of contribute to that, kind of lead up to the next expansion. And then Witch Queen worked so well because it was kind of centralized. It started and ended with itself. But then it kind of set up what final or what Lightfall was going to be. So we spent all that year after Witch Queen leading up to Lightfall. Right? It's more of like Lightfall's story starts at the end of Witch Queen. And then the final Shape story should have started at the end of Lightfall. But that's not the case here. Lightfall's story didn't really end. And is now being dragged through all the seasons up to Final Shape. So we're both doing like the conclusion of Lightfall while also doing the preamble to Final Shape. Which just doesn't work with this model. So we'll see what happens and how they change this up. And a couple people have posted this, and we won't know until Final Shape releases. But if the Final Shape story does not end with the campaign of Final Shape, it will be the biggest drop of the ball Bungie has ever done. The seasons after Final Shape should have no correlation with Final Shape. Everything should be contained in its package. They want to up the price, whatever, sure. If that makes you feel better about yourselves, go for it. But Final Shape's got to be big. Right. Okay, preview of what's to come. Before we get into our 6-month progress report on our goals for the year, we wanted to share some previews of several quality of life upgrades and core sandbox updates coming in Season 22. Some of these are designed to simply make your everyday Destiny 2 experience better. Others should result in substantial meta refreshers for both PvE and PvP. In our midpoint in Lightfall's year, we hope the sum of Season 22's updates, along with the new content we've called out here and everything yet to be revealed in our showcase, will make Destiny 2 feel as fresh and exciting as ever for many players as possible. Alright, quality of life upgrades. Sometimes it's the seemingly smaller improvements that can be the biggest upgrades to how you engage with Destiny 2 every day. Here's a quick look at some quality of life upgrades coming in 22. The cosmetic favoriting. Long last, you'll be able to pin up to 100 of your favorite shaders, ornaments, and emotes to the top of the list starting in 22. Thank goodness. There needs to be a better sorting system for this thing. Look at all these shaders. Not only that, you don't know what these shaders look like when you put them on. So yeah, that's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Stasis, aspects, and fragments move to vendor system. Any character who has completed the Beyond Light campaign will be able to acquire all available stasis aspects and fragments from Elsie Bray on Europa starting next season. For Glimmer, kind of like we have with Ikora, but finally, those quests to get all this stuff is character-based, not account-based. And they're so long and tedious. Oh my gosh. I got them all done, all my characters, but goodness, it was not fun. Transmats will now be unlocks. Oh, thank goodness. I've always been scared to change these. Like shaders before them, transmats will now be stored as unlocks on your account rather than consumable items. Feel free to change transmats at will without needing to grab copies from collections or find them in the wild. The Wish Ender Pursuit improvements. The Wish Ender quest has gone through a number of changes throughout the years, and in Season 22 it becomes a real quest. No more charged or uncharged discs sitting in your inventory. Just a single quest strand in your quest log. Alright, cool. Resource tab added to collections. Interesting. This is a change we are really excited about. We now have a resources tab in the collections which shows you all of the currencies, upgrade materials, and engrams in the game, appropriately categorized with information on how to acquire it, as well as what to do with it once you have it. Finally. Alright. That's good. It's good for newer players. Iron Banner challenges split. With Pinnacle rewards not being as big of a draw as they once were season over season since Season of the Deep began, we felt it was time to split the Pinnacle acquisition and reputation multipliers we added back in Season of the Haunted. Starting in Season 22, Iron Banner will have 2 different stacking challenges each day. One for players who just want the reputation multiplier, which does not require using specific seasonal subclasses, and one for players who are going after their Pinnacle rewards, which does require using seasonal subclasses. Okay. I don't play Iron Banner enough, so I don't know what's happening there. Dating all the way back to Season 3, Ritual Reputations, previously known as Valor, Glory, and Infamy, waited until you hit orbit to process any rank ups, because the almost full screen banner would overwrite the scoreboard if it showed up earlier. When we revamped and streamlined reputations over the past few years, we moved the rank up banner to the bottom of the screen and made them less conspicuous. But we left the process of the ranks until you hit orbit. Now we've finally taken the step and made the rank up process immediately at the end of the activity. No more waiting for your rewards. Now they'll show up right away in your loot stream. Yay. Okay. Oh boy, sandbox updates. We love these. New strand aspects. All right. Start of season 22. We're adding 3 new aspects to enhance the strand kit. So Whirling Maelstrom for Hunter, Banner of War for Titans, and Weave Walk for Warlocks. Oh yeah, they've talked about these. I was gonna say that actually sounds familiar. Similar to our first wave of exotic revamps in Season of the Deep, the team is working with another batch of underused exotic armor pieces in Season 22 to shake things up and give players a new reason to dive into their vaults. Sounds good. Alright, new weapon subfamilies in the final shape. Cool. That'll be fun. It'll be really fun to see. Especially, we need stuff for our bows, glaives, and whatnot. Because those archetypes just mean nothing. All the weapon tunings, I'm not going to read those. Alright, reinforcing our goals for the year. About 6 months ago, we laid out our plan to achieve 4 main goals for Destiny 2 in our previous state of the game. Expand players' imaginations, bring challenge back to Destiny, enrich our content, and connect our guardians. That's it. I remember this one. And then, yeah. Okay, I remember these now. With Lightfall and its first 2 seasons under our belts and the launch of Season 22 in our showcase just around the corner, we'd like to take a moment to catch everyone up on how far we've come on these goals and where we're going from here. Think of this as our Destiny 2 scorecard. First up, expand players' imaginations. In Lightfall and Season of Defiance, we transformed many of the ways players typically interact with the game, from core systems and build crafting overhauls to streamlined seasonal currencies. With Season of the Deep, we replaced the typical vendor upgrade module and introduced the new Deep Dives, Activity, and Pressure Trials, which represent fresh experiments for Destiny 2 that we believe are worth the investment. It is true. We've seen more activities like that. While there's always room for us to revise and improve, the community's response has reinforced that we're on the right track with norm-breaking efforts like these, and we'll be rolling out something very new and different in Season 23. Now, without spoiling anything ahead of the showcase, our next season will be heading into creative territories we've never explored before. We're changing some things up in a big way, including the seasonal progression paradigm with an all-new mechanic. All will be revealed on August 22nd. Taking a step back to examine the overall narrative for the year, the team is laser focused on ensuring the connective tissue in our storytelling between seasons 20 and 23, and the final shape is more impactful than last year's seasons were leading up to Lightfall. I mean, you always want to have that as a goal, but it's not doing that, in my opinion. But okay. We're taking the feedback to heart and loading this year up with important moments designed to capture players' imaginations and move the saga forward with each beat. We've already proven this out in Season of the Deep with the revelations of the Witness's origins, substantial lore drops throughout the season in Neomuna, and the implications of where our guardians go from here after the final missions cutscene, which should launch next Tuesday. Not this Tuesday, but next Tuesday. We know there are some who would have preferred to experience these stories during Lightfall's campaign. With those players in mind, we believe the totality of this year's narratives will set the stage for the final shape in ways that a single story beat never could. And to put concerns to rest right now, the final shape and its raid will provide a climactic conclusion to the Light and Darkness saga before we look ahead at what comes next in Destiny 2. Yay! You heard my rant earlier. It's all in one package. Yay. We were all worried about that. Good. Also, they're saying, like, in ways that a single story never could. You did that with Witch Queen. Again, it's... Anyways, it's just... Okay. This final mission for the season next week better make my mouth drop to the floor and crash to the center of the earth. Alright. Goal number 2. Bring challenge back to Destiny. Although we were a bit uneven on this one at the start of the year, we feel we achieved this goal after making additional tweaks based on general feedback at Lightfall's launch. While enemies in Neomuna still pack a punch, regardless of your level, players have been able to steadily climb in power to take on the more difficult challenges they may have had a tough time with earlier in the year, due to the absence of a power level cap increase in Season of the Deep. Following the success of these changes, we're confirming today that we also won't be raising the power level cap in Season 22. Good. I think we're on the track where we only raise power cap at expansions, which I think is fantastic. We've seen a ton of positive feedback on this decision from players who appreciate being able to play at their own pace rather than feeling compelled to chase pinnacles each week. Of course, we'll still have plenty of activities where power is crucial, including Master Raid and Dungeon content, Legend of Master Nightfalls, Grandmasters, Legend of Master Lost Sectors, and Trials. This will still be the case throughout Season 22, and your artifact power will still be as important as ever. For those craving even tougher challenges, we raised the bar on GM Nightfall difficulty this season with our first PsyOps Battlegrounds GM, which will make an additional appearance before the end of the season for those who didn't get a chance to take it on the first time. As usual, you'll continue to monitor feedback as we add more Battlegrounds to the Vanguard Nightfall and GM schedule later in Lightfall's year. That's a cool picture. When do we fight a Tormentor in the dark? I can't recall. Huh. Alright. I guess quick revamp of this. They've done a great job with bringing challenge back. Not everything is as challenging as anything else. Then again, some of us have just gotten better at the game than others. I still think Neomuna is just a little too hard. It's just a destination. Maybe tone it down just a little bit more. I understand why they want to keep it difficult. But everything else, yeah, no, they've done fantastic. It's great that power cap's not raising. It's been really nice not having to worry about pinnacles. Just kind of chase after what I want to chase. Obviously, XP and whatnot is still incredibly important for your artifact power, but people can get that relatively quickly. I mean, I don't play that often, in all honesty, and I can still pump out a lot of artifact power, so it's, yeah, very good stuff here. I'd say they nailed this goal. Goal number 3, enrich our content. Based on feedback throughout the year of the Witch Queen, we knew players wanted more exotic missions that the community would need to discover on their own. We also heard the requests from longtime players for the return of previously released exotic missions that the team absolutely loved creating, and we got to work to answer the call. In Season of Defiance, we delivered the Avalon exotic mission with Vex Caliber. The exotic mission is kind of fine. It's pretty fun, just lots of explosions. It's a little difficult, to be honest. I still think Vex Caliber should have been a sword. It makes no sense for it to be a clave. Vex Caliber is a sword, right? Anyways. As a surprise for those who discover the path into the Vex network, Season of the Deep brought the Whetstone exotic mission. Oh, I still haven't done that. I gotta do that. To deep divers in search of the new Wicked Implement Scout Rifle and its catalyst. In just a few weeks, we're bringing back some of the best Destiny 2 content we've ever made with our new exotic mission Rotator starting on day 1 of Season 22. The Rotator will kick off with the return of Presage to offer a new avenue for players to earn Dead Man's Tell, which will also be craftable for the first time. Fantastic. After that, Vox Obscura and Operation Sheriff's Shield will join the rotation, offering up their respective craftable exotic weapons and catalysts as well. We'll have more details on what else to expect from the exotic mission Rotator in an upcoming TWID blog as we get closer to launch. Man, I had to sneeze, but man, I'm hating this microphone right now. I don't know why you're acting like this. Anyways, so we still don't have the earlier ones for Outbreak Perfected and Whisper of the Worm. But those are going to take a lot more work because they got to get updated to the new engine, right? They talked about this. So all these are already in the engine, so they're bringing them back. So kind of gives them time to keep working on it. But we know they are coming back. So I'm not mad at them for this. This will be fun. It's just another new thing to do because it is kind of a more challenging experience. To recap the PvP front, we're delivering the new Season 22 content we mentioned above, including the brand new in addition to the new and returning weapons coming to the Crucible, Iron Banner, and Trials playlists, we'll also have new sandbox overhauls, exotic armor upgrades, and weapon tuning changes. Oh, yeah. Anyways, nothing exciting. Finally, we called back in February that we were initially targeting more changes to ritual content in the final season of the year. While we've made the recent decision to push this initiative to the final shape, we have plans to replace some bounties with a more rewarding and engaging system, tentatively called the Pathfinder. This is going to be debuted on the new destination in the final shape, and we're currently nailing down a plan for how we can use this new system to replace core ritual bounties in the new year. For now, here's a work in progress preview of the Pathfinder UI. Alright, so you just kind of make a star map to that, okay? Sure. It looks cool. I just want to know what it's for. Alright, goal number 4, connect our guardians. By the way, can I just say, this cutscene, or this cinematic they made for the Final Shape trailer, fantastic. Oh, it was so pretty. Oh, I want to see more cutscenes like this. Cannot wait for them to make like a show or something. And they can use graphics and special effects like this. Oh, it'd be beautiful. The gameplay systems and quality of life features we added in Lightfall made Destiny 2 the most welcoming it's ever been for new and returning players, and we're doubling down as we head into the final shape. Season 22 will include new ways to experience key in-game moments in Destiny 2's history to help get millions of Guardians caught up for the confrontation with the Witness. In Season 23, our upcoming Fireteam Finder, or LFG feature, will be the silver bullet for players who have never had a full Fireteam to run endgame content before, including raids, dungeons, master level activities, and more. And in the final shape, we're making big changes to the progression system that will help to connect even more players and remove barriers keeping friends from taking on the same content together. We'll have more info on that in the showcase. So Season 23 is when LFG is coming in. Yes, I'll be there in a second. I just want to get through the rest of this. The feature listed above, combined with everything we're talking about, everything to come, will create the best gameplay experience for the widest possible audience that Destiny has ever seen. Final Shape is incredibly special to us as the culmination of Destiny's first decade. We're committed to making it just as special for all our players worldwide as a showdown with the Witness approaches. Thanks again for taking the time to read this. Today was just a piece of what we have in store. So if you don't run into you in the tower before then, we sure hope to see you all in the chat at the showcase on the 22nd. I won't read the tweet, but okay. Final thoughts on this. I think it's fine. They're making a few good changes. I don't think they really went over that much, in all honesty. They essentially said PvP will be the same. We kind of have a skeleton crew creating new stuff for you. And it looks like they made some great stuff. Gambit's got nothing. Vanguard, they're just going to keep doing the same. Armor sets, they're like, meh. We'll keep making armor sets to make us money. Only to make us money, really. Just some previews or update stuff that we've already heard. Good quality of life updates. I mean, all 3 of these are fantastic. the new resources currency tab thing here. Fantastic quality life for newer players because there's too many of these. Obviously, sandbox changes. All their goals. I mean, I haven't been too upset with any of these. Expanding players' imaginations kind of confuses me a little bit, but this was fantastic to hear. So glad they decided to do that. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure what everyone's so pissed off about. I mean, obviously there's some things to be a little upset with. Like, there's no mention about Eververse. It changes. Daichi, I hope you're ready to get the what was it, Cathedral of Scars map back sometime after Final Shape. It's the only update you're getting from Gambit. It's just, it feels bad, man, because I enjoy Gambit more than PvP. But anyways, I heard somewhere that someone's like, they didn't mention Eververse at all, which it's true, they didn't, and they really should have, because it's kind of getting a little out of control. Just a little bit. And it's still really BS. A lot of this is just, we don't have the resources to work on the things you want to work on because they're doing all this other stuff. But all I read in here is that resources are getting diverted to seasonal content. That's essentially it. All of our resources are going to the big money spenders, like Eververse and seasonal content. All the ritual stuff that made our game, nah, no more. We can't monetize it, so toss it out the window. But no, I'm not too upset with this state of the game. It wasn't that bad. So I'm excited to watch my catalog of everyone's pissed off thoughts about the state of the game. Well, that's it for this. I'm going to go play some GMs with my clan. Everyone else who stopped by, watching VOD later, thanks for watching. Hopefully you're excited for the showcase.